widespread to concentrated. 25 off-duty policemen were killed overnight in the Sinai. Sunday, at least 36 prison detainees died during an alleged escape. That's how the interim government describes it, but the Muslim Brotherhood called the killings assassinations. The head of the Muslim Brotherhood received another extension of his confinement, while his predecessor may soon be released. Why does Egypt matter? Because it's seen as a linchpin in the Middle East and is crucial to U.S. ally Israel's defense. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Ed Henry is at the White House looking at the administration's evolving Egypt policy. But we begin with correspondent Leland Vittert, who's watching the fast-moving situation from our Middle East newsroom. Hello, Leland.
Hi, Brett. Just past midnight in Cairo, where it is relatively calm but far from quiet, especially given the rumors that Hosni Mubarak, the former president, may get out of jail. Right now, it appears as though the army is winning the battle for the streets against the Muslim Brotherhood gunmen and the battle for the hearts and minds of the Egyptian people, although it's coming at a high price. Under a banner on state TV reading "Egypt fighting terrorism," a military jet brought back the bodies of 25 police recruits killed execution style overnight by jihadist militants and left on the side of a road in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. A clear message of revenge from groups loyal to the Muslim Brotherhood, allegedly for the death of 36 Brotherhood prisoners in an escape attempt from this jail earlier Sunday. Egypt's military junta hoped to prevent such attacks by rounding up hundreds of Brotherhood supporters and leadership, along with this man, Mohammed al-Zawahiri, the brother of al-Qaeda's leader and a leading jihadist in Egypt. Authorities arrested him Saturday just as Brotherhood gunmen made a violent last stand in a Cairo mosque, taking potshots at the assembled crowd from its minaret. Finally, riot police backed by soldiers stormed the building, fighting their way through and leaving to the cheers of the assembled masses. Brotherhood organizers only managed to gather a few hundred to the streets Sunday, chanting, "This is a war against Islam," referring to last month's military coup deposing President Mohamed Morsi. At the same time, strongman general and leader of the coup, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, took to the airwaves. The honor of protecting the will of the people is more valuable to us and to me personally than the honor of ruling Egypt, he said. By morning, his words were front-page headlines, but little comfort to those reading them. "We are afraid. We don't know what to do," said this woman on the streets, now under martial law with tanks on every corner. Now today, former President Hosni Mubarak's lawyer said that the deposed president may get out of jail in the next couple of days. But that would mean the army risking another round of protests when they have just won the battle for the streets, a battle that could turn into a long war if the Brotherhood and its supporters decide that suicide bombings and other attacks are a better way to be heard than political protests. Brett?
You know, Leland, Christians make up about 10% of Egypt's population, but that's still more than 10 million people. There have been a lot of attacks on churches in recent days.
Absolutely. The Christians are under siege from the Muslim Brotherhood. Dozens of churches were burned starting on Wednesday night by the Brotherhood. They view them, the Christians, as supporters, sympathizers of the army, somebody to take their anger out on. A couple of nuns were captured by the Brotherhood, paraded through the streets. The Coptic Pope has come out and asked for support for the army. Meanwhile, the army is promising support and protection for the Christians. Back to you.
Leland Vittert live in our Middle East newsroom. Leland, thank you. Despite his luxury digs on Martha's Vineyard, far from the Egypt crisis, Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry on a returning president who has had to hit the ground running.
Just back from vacation, President Obama is immediately facing pressure to deal with the spiraling situation in Egypt, with Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel declaring the violence must end, though he quickly added the administration believes it has little leverage.
Our ability to influence the outcome in Egypt is limited. It's up to the Egyptian people. And they are a large, great, sovereign nation. And it will be their responsibility to sort this out.
Some key Republicans disagree and hit the Sunday talk shows to declare it's time for the president to play an important card, cutting off the $1.3 billion in military aid the U.S. provides Egypt each year.
We have no credibility. We do have influence, but when you don't use that influence, then you do not have that influence.
We are not winning the hearts and minds of those in Egypt.
We're going to have a failed state in Egypt, and we're going to have to suspend our aid because we can't support the reaction of the military.
While Hagel said the administration is reviewing every aspect of its relationship with Egypt, the president has only announced suspending a planned joint military exercise and halting the delivery of 4 F-16 fighter planes, while deliberations over cutting off the bigger package of aid are ongoing.
That's the purpose of these reviews, is to determine what impact it would have on our national security, whether it's in compliance with the law, and is it going to get us closer to seeing the kind of outcome in Egypt that we would like to see, which is the prompt return to a democratically elected civilian government in Egypt.
And the White House is getting cover from other Republicans who say cutting off aid would be a mistake.
The fact is there's no good guys here. But of the two, I think there's more opportunity to protect American interests if we work with the military and continue our relationship with the military.
The other question is whether U.S. aid matters much anyway, when it's dwarfed by the $12 billion that is poured into Egypt from Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Kuwait in just the last month.
There's no question that we overestimated what our leverage was, and we've underestimated the leverage that Saudi Arabia and UAE has had on this government.
Now, the president was hoping this week would be all about his bus tour to Pennsylvania and upstate New York on Thursday and Friday to talk about the middle class. This is yet another example of outside events overshadowing his second-term agenda. Brett?
Ed Henry live on the North Lawn. Ed, thank you. The